Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie. Was that on your table tonight?
Well, those are the odds, Thanksgiving being a time of plenty, but it's also time to consider what is lost.
Tonight, a groundbreaking study about harvest left to rot. KPIX 5's Juliette Goodrich has our original report.
What's a holiday feast without a cornucopia from California farms? But now new research shows much of the harvest may be left on the fields, leaving many Bay Area families hungry. The Second Harvest Food Bank of Silicon Valley.
I'm so excited that persimmon season is here.
The nonprofit provides free food to anyone in need, but the demand is growing in an expensive Bay Area. More and more working families are now struggling to keep a roof over their heads.
Hunger is kind of one of those hidden consequences of the housing crisis because so many people are having to choose between paying their rent and affording food.
Over 50% of what Second Harvest provides is fresh produce. The food bank works with local farmers to get surplus crops.
We're always looking for creative ways to partner with farmers to be able to get more of that product.
But now a new study reveals a heartbreaking reality.
We were really astounded.
Professor Greg Baker is with the Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the University of Santa Clara. He says when it comes to food waste, most research focuses on what happens after the harvest in the home, the grocery store, or restaurant.
So we thought, well, why don't we go out and actually measure what's left in farmers' fields?
Baker's team surveyed over 140 different fields and a few dozen farmers in northern and central California. The focus on 20 different hand-picked crops such as lettuce and tomatoes. As a farm crew harvested a field, the research team followed, collecting all the edible produce left behind.
And then they would bring them in, they would classify the unharvested produce as to whether it might be too small, too big, not ripe enough, too ripe, some kind of defects, and then we would weigh them.
The results staggering.
That an amazing amount of produce is left in the fields.
About 5 tons per acre. Roughly a third of what's grown remains in the field after harvest, left to rot. Even the growers were surprised. The food loss at the farm level exceeded their estimates by 157%.
So 2.5 times what the growers thought they were going to be.
It's just absolutely devastating for us as farmers.
Ken Michael is president of the Bowles Farming Company in Los Banos. He's the 6th generation of his family to work in the family farming business. Here, Michael and his team farm a little over 11,000 acres, including fields of fresh cilantro.
As a farmer, you never want to produce something that doesn't go to use.
Bowles Farming participated closely with the researchers to help quantify the problem.
We all sort of felt it was a big issue, but then it's, of course, having the real research behind it, I think, has been very helpful.
As to what's behind the problem, there's no one simple answer. But Professor Baker cautions to look beyond the farm.
Farmers are not really the problem, but they're part of a system that is broken.
For example, consumers expect perfection,
which result in high buyer specifications.
Here are 5 different heads of cauliflower. 2 are too small, 1 is too big, 1 is sunburnt. Only 1 is just right and will go to market.
Growers are operating under contracts.
Another issue, if the price drops or there is an oversupply, farmers can no longer afford to harvest a field. At that point, it's cheaper to let it rot.
To not get an economic return for us is tough, and then it's even, doubly hard than to actually see, great quality produce in a field just go to waste.
And of course, that's heartbreaking to us because we know there are thousands of people that could really use that produce.
Phase 2 of the study is now underway. How to get more of the food loss to the food banks. In Alameda County, Juliette Goodrich, KPIX 5.
Some entrepreneurs have come up with a market to sell imperfect produce.
But Professor Baker tells us that that only takes care of a tiny percentage of all of the discarded produce.